Hey guys, it's Mario here and I'm currently in Rome, Italy. What you see behind me is the famous Colosseum. It's pretty awesome. I actually managed to get a really decent shot here with all the tourists, with all the stuff going on, a lot of selfies being taken at the same time as I'm filming this video. So I wanted to shoot a quick video for you guys to answer one of the most common questions that I'm getting, and I'm sure that you've wondered this as well at some point, is what is the best diet out there? So what is the best diet? So this is like the first thing I get asked from a lot of guys. I mean, when they start commenting, sending me Facebook messages or sending me emails, they're like, well, I want to do the best one, you know, I don't want to do the second one or the second best or some one that is good enough, you know, I want to just pick the best and the top one. And there's ultimately no such thing. There's no best diet out there, and really there's a couple of principles that we have to adhere to and that make the diet successful, right? So there's no such thing as one ultimate solution that fits every single person out there, and anybody who tells you that, it's probably a coach or someone who's not even a coach who just says, hey, I found something that works for me, now it should work for everybody. So there's no such thing, right? So it has to be every diet plan, every nutrition plan has to be individualized specifically for you, for your situation, in order for it to work 100%. So now in this video, what I wanted to reveal to you, I guess, is a different way of thinking at it, where you're not so focused on the specifics, where most people get so caught up on the specifics, but they miss the general principles. So the general principles, if you look at it, I mean, bodybuilders and fitness enthusiasts, powerlifters, weightlifters, sports people, I mean, they've been successful with any kind of diet plan, you name it, like just name it. Any diet has been successful for them, whether it's the high fat, low fat, high carb, low carb, vegan, vegetarian, Okinawa, Paleo, like whatever diet, Atkins, you know, people have lost weight with it. People have gotten ripped with it. And it's really like about some of these general principles that you have to pick from each one of these diets rather than focusing too much on the specifics, like what is the name of the diet, like how many followers the diet has, it's some kind of diet cult with a nice little Facebook group or something like that. It's more about the general principles. That's something I wanted to cover in this video a little bit, because that's something you really have to focus on in order to make any diet successful. So the principles of the best diet, number one, is adhere to the caloric deficit, right? So if your goal is to essentially lose body fat, lose body weight, you have to be in a caloric deficit. There's no way around that. Any diet that thinks like, well, you can just eat whatever you want, or any diet that says, well, you don't have to like count your calories or whatever, they're still putting you in a caloric deficit, whether you want to, whether you are aware of it consciously or not, because they're just manipulating the food choices, they're doing different food combinations, they're telling you, well, this is a list of banned foods, and all of a sudden, you know, those foods have a lot of calories. Essentially, they're putting you in a caloric deficit, whether you're aware of it or not. So there's no way around that energy balance. And if someone says, well, calorie isn't a calorie, right? So calories are different from different foods. Well, look, I mean, you can argue semantics there, but essentially what happens is that you have to be in a negative energy balance. And what most people don't understand is that the caloric input regulates the caloric output. So it's not just simple as calories in, calories out, but in general, you have to be in a form of an energy deficit to lose body weight. So that's not gonna happen. This has been tested in metabolic wards, and this is 100% as true as the law of gravity, right? So there's no way going by that law, so some form of magical combination or some kind of magical supplement, there's no such thing, right? So caloric deficit is an absolute must. So how are you gonna achieve that caloric deficit? Whether it's through a diet or exercise or a combination of both, which is found to be the most successful way, I mean, it's up to you, but essentially a caloric deficit is a must. The second really strong principle when you look at all the successful diets out there is having sufficient of protein. So sufficient of dietary protein on a daily basis really primes your body to lose body fat while maintaining muscle mass and even building some muscle mass. If you're a beginner, if you're someone coming from a layoff, from training, pause, you know, is coming back to it, you can actually rebuild a lot of muscle due to that muscle memory effect, especially if you have a higher body fat percentage as well. So essentially you can gain muscle and lose fat at the same time if you're in that situation of a beginner, as I said, or someone coming back from a layoff. So protein is extremely important when you're dieting down, also for the general satiety, and it makes your diet a lot easier to follow because you get to eat a lot more food as protein. If you eat a large amount of protein, you don't actually get a lot of calories for that. So you can consume a larger amount of food, it makes you feel better. It's quite tasty as well if you just focus on the right combinations of foods, and it will work perfect. So the third big component of any successful diet plan out there is having sufficient of essential fatty acids. So this is something that you probably heard about, you know, you heard about omega-3s, you heard about such things. You know, there's a there's a limited, there's a minimum amount of fat that you need from a diet in order to be healthy and in order to have your body working properly. So you want to make sure that you get enough essential fatty acids. So in most cases, that's going to be between 15 to 30% of your total caloric intake will come from fat, and you want to make sure that you get those omega-3s in there. So that's kind of shown to enhance, if there's any supplement out there, if there's anything that actually enhances how much fat you're gonna mobilize, how much fat you're gonna store, it is the omega-3 intake. So you wanna make sure to get the proper amount of omega-3. I actually shot a video on this before, what to pay attention on when you're buying omega-3 supplements, and I'm gonna link that video for you in the description below for you to check out. So watch that video, definitely gonna be very, very helpful. And the fourth component of a diet plan that is successful is actually exercising combined with the diet. So if you're not doing any form of physical exercise, you have a very low chance of succeeding, and not just succeeding in the short run with actually losing weight, but I mean with maintaining that lost weight, with actually getting into a healthy lifestyle where that new body weight that you have with that lower body fat percentage is actually something that you're becoming, that is becoming a part of you. So you're no longer that quote unquote fatty identity, you're now becoming an identity of someone who is an athlete, someone who's successful, someone who has a great looking body. And as well, if you're not exercising, it's a very high chance that most of that weight that you're gonna lose, I mean, it will be body fat, but there's also going to be a lot of muscle mass loss. So you want to make sure that you are performing some form of resistance training or a combination of resistance training and cardio for the best results when it comes to dieting. And the fifth final principle of these most successful diets, the best diet out there, quote unquote, will be adherence. So all these four things that I just mentioned previously won't work if you actually don't follow it. So best diet is the one you can follow, right? So that's the one you can adhere to in the long run, the one that you can execute on a daily basis without having any issues, without having a lot of problems where you just quit, fall off track, without limiting your lifestyle a lot. So you want to make sure that you pick a diet that you can actually follow, and that's the best diet for you, right? As we said in the beginning, there's no ultimate best one, best choice out there that fits everybody, but there's something that will fit you, and you want to actually discover what that thing is. And that's the one that will allow you to adhere to these four principles and be able to execute them on a daily basis without having much issues. So the fifth principle is actually the most important one. So you can be in a caloric deficit for 3 days out of the 7 days of the week, you will still not be able to get a lot of fat loss or weight loss, because just go YOLO for the other part of the week, you know, you're no longer in a deficit. You know, it doesn't matter what you did that first 3 days. So it's essential that you follow a plan that you can actually adhere to, that enhances your life and not limits you or puts you in a prison of sort of where you just can't, where you're just limited, where you just feel like the diet is controlling your life, and instead of you having maximum control over your nutrition. So the principle of adherence is really the most important one, and that's something where some people will be able to adhere best to a vegetarian diet, for example. Someone will be operating the best on some kind of higher carbohydrate, intermittent fasting diet. Someone will be able to follow a broad diet, which is 6-7 meals a day with plenty of protein, with just moderate carbs and fats. You know, it doesn't really matter if you just obey the first four principles, and if you simply adhere to it in the fifth principle, that is going to yield the optimal results for you. So that is all for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Really beautiful scenery here at Colosseum. I'm going to check out, get some gelato, get some pizzas. It's very hard not to bulk when you're in Rome, Italy, because the food is so delicious, and it's amazing. On every little corner there's like a little bakery with all these good foods in there, so I'm pretty excited to check that out. So if you guys enjoyed this quick video here from the Colosseum in Rome, Italy, let me know in the comments below, from your experience so far with all the stuff you've tried out, which diet do you think works best for you? So which one is the best for you? And I'm curious, I want to know your opinion, I want to know your experience, so share that with the community. Aside from that, make sure to hit that subscribe button right in the face to support the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.